Giving the Young Woman a Voice by Narelle Noppert. Picton, 2571. Narrated by Chloe Schwank. Frost glistens as the sun rises, and I view it from my bedroom window as I look out into the bush. It is midwinter, beautifully sunny days with crisp mornings and evenings. I too head to the winter of my life, somewhere between 10 o'clock and midnight, the 70 plus. I put hesitant feet to the floor. I have lingered longer than usual. My thick dressing gown waits in the wardrobe just a few steps away. But as I emerge, I see the glimpse of an old lady looking back at me from the wardrobe mirror. Her skin tells of many summers, wrinkles, and greying hair. I'm as intrigued with her as she appears to be with me, but a gentle smile breaks the contact as I reach for my gown. I think it's time to tell her story, I whisper to myself. I comb my thinning hair as I look forward to my morning cuppa. I would say my life has had 6 very varied segments, each quite different from the previous. Events have not always afforded me the privilege of consistency, or at times, stability or security. There have been 4 main areas in Sydney where my life has played out. At the tender age of 19, I married, having my first child born 10 months later. I fast forward to the time after 2 of my 3 children were born. It was late 1960s, a time when milk and bread were delivered to your door. We had rented homes, but with help from my family, we were able to purchase a small 2-roomed house. Originally an old holiday cottage, it had been trucked in and literally plopped in the centre of a generous block of land. It was quite makeshift with dodgy foundations and uneven floors. One room was large enough to partition into 2 separate sleeping areas, while a smaller room was the lounge dining with a small spot for a kitchen sink and stove. There was a tiny bathroom, but an outside pan toilet. I recall the night a rat ate through the kainite wall while I was alone with my son. All I could do was squirt fly spray at it. The family was outgrowing our home when, opportunely, the house next door came up for sale. We sold our little one and purchased it. We were aware of some of its shortcomings but felt it had potential. We were so excited when the day of exchange came, but as we opened the door, we wondered what we had done. The house had been built decades earlier by an aging migrant, shy of today's council regulations. We later discovered that his son had shot and killed himself in our kitchen. We had 3 bedrooms, and the house was structurally sound with hardwood timber frames. However, the interior left a lot to be desired. The windows leaked, water stains visible on depressingly dark wallpaper, which also hid uneven gyprock, together with gaping joints and an absence of cornices. We had no inside toilet or bathroom, save for a zinc bath with wood chip water heater in the old garage, which we lit daily for hot water. I bathed the little ones, then we topped it up for ourselves. One day the heater gave up. The rusted wood furnace separated from the water tank and floated around precariously. This made things harder than they had already been. The slow combustion stove in the kitchen had seen better days, and with the first downpour of rain, soot and dirt flowed down the chimney and onto the floor. Tears flowed from my eyes as I pondered how we could make this depressing place a home for our young family. Looking back, I think of that poor young woman and how she cared for her children. I reassure myself that she was young and full of hope and resilience. My husband was in the building trade, so as finances allowed, we pushed our way through piles of debris, removed torn floor coverings, the old stove and chimney and rough cupboards. We moved everyone around as all walls were replaced with new gyprock. Bit at a time, the house was transformed with new kitchen, built-in wardrobes and a bathroom featuring the then fashionable springtime Tilex fibro walls. The pan toilet was only bearable until the sanitary workers went on strike and there was no collection. A hole in the yard saved the day. In time, inside toilets were installed, together with a pump-out sewerage system. A new oil heater arrived in time for the winter birth of our third child in 1973. Gradually, the exterior fibro was covered with hardy plank, and the corrugated red, peeling roof was repainted. The house was home to us for many years and demolished after we left in the 1990s. It was replaced by 2 townhouses. The little house next door had been demolished in the 1980s, replaced by a new brick home. Both houses, although a lot of hard work, had served our family adequately and home for our growing years. Much later, we upgraded to a modern, completed home. Although I absolutely loved my new home, the marriage broke down after the kids left, and I moved myself into a third-floor home unit, taking me on to segment 4 of my life, a story for another time. The frost has melted and the sun is shining. It's time for me to return to section 6 of my life, where I have found peace and contentment in a comfortable home of my own. That young woman's resilience carried me through the further trials and tribulations of life, when I determinedly put my nose to the grindstone for an independent future. Being retired now for 15 years, I'm facing the usual health issues of my age, but I've had the best retirement life I could have hoped for. I wish I could have told my younger self, you'll not only survive, but you'll thrive. The end.